The launch of futures trading in brass by Multi-Commodity Exchange, the country's largest commodity exchange for the first time globally. Is brass treated as an engineering alloy? Brass has been accepted as an engineering alloy in the last millennium. The production of brass became more important after the Industrial Revolution. Cast brass was hammered to make rod plate in a water-powered battery. Rods cut from the plate were then pulled through dies by hand to make the vital stock needed for pins for the textile weaving industry. What is brass? How is it processed? Brass is an alloy made of copper and zinc. The magnitude of zinc and copper can be mixed to create a range of brass metals with varying properties. Brass is often used in situations in which it is important that sparks not to be stuck, such as fittings and tools used near flammable or explosive materials. Brass has higher malleability than bronze or zinc. The relatively low melting point of brass and its flow characteristics make it a relatively easy material to cast. Today, almost 90% of the brass alloys are recycled. Because brass is not ferromagnetic, it can be separated from ferrous scrap by passing the scrap near a powerful magnet. What is commercial applicability of brass? Brass is an ideal alloy for the transport of water through pipes and fittings. It is also suitable for use in marine engines and pump parts. The most common usage of metals comes from its non-magnetic nature. Clock and watch components, electrical terminals, and nutrients all require a metal that will not be affected by magnetism, which is where brass finds its usage. How is the production and distribution of brass in India estimated? The estimated annual production of brass in India is close to 250,000 MT. This includes production via primary metal and recycling. In India, Jamnagar in Gujarat, Moradabad and Jagadhri in UP are large production centers of brass. Jamnagar consists of around 5,000 large and small brass units involved in brass industry. There are foundries, manufacturing units and units which make specialized brass products which are exported to various countries around the world. It involves taking equal and opposite positions in two different markets with the objective of reducing or limiting risks associated with price change. It is a two-step process where a gain or loss in the physical position due to change in price will be offset by changes in the value on the derivatives platform, thereby reducing or limited risks associated with unpredictable changes in price. What are the factors that impact the prices of brass? Brass prices are reliant either on the international standard of the primary metal, copper, and zinc or the supply and demand of brass scrap and brass. Economic events such as the national industrial growth, global financial crisis, recession and inflation influence metal prices. Trade policies set by the government, that is execution or suspension of taxes, penalties and quotas, after supply as they regulate, restricting or encouraging material flow. Geopolitical events concerning governments or economic paradigms and armed conflict can cause major changes. What are the contracts available for trading brass? To start with, 3 contracts ending in April, May and June respectively in 2018 will be available for trading. The lot size of a contract is 1 ton. The brass futures will be the first non-ferrous contract with compulsory delivery option. The price is quoted ex-warehouse Jamnagar, basis center inclusive of taxes and duties excluding GST. The ingots and billets are of IS 319 grade. As an exchange traded product, brass futures aims to provide maximum price transparency and equal access to all market participants. It would improve the price discovery process and provide a price discovery platform as well as a hedging tool to the brass industry. What do industry experts say on the launch of brass futures trade in India? Sanjay Mehta, President Metals Recycling Association of India, MRAI, said, "The brass industry in India always wanted a price benchmark for the industry. The brass futures debut on MCX will provide the brass industry not only a robust price discovery platform, but also an excellent tool to hedge their price risk. It is indeed a historical moment for MCX as well as for the brass industries in India, as this contract is not just the first in India, but it's the first world's brass futures contract. How can the price movement of brass be predicted? As discussed above, copper and zinc are the two major metals involved in this process. As past representations of the brass charts are not available, it is essential to take copper and zinc into consideration. An uptick in the market movement of copper will increase the scope of upward movement of brass prices as well. Similarly, a downfall in zinc prices can have a similar downward impact in brass prices. Hence, the market movements of copper and zinc can be used to predict the market movement of brass prices. The point to be noted here is those who have a special liking and interest to trade in brass, which is an emerging market, can trade and benefit from the same. How can the price movement of brass be calculated? The percentage in which it can be calculated is as follows. The price value of copper, 60% can be taken into account. The price value of zinc, 40% can be taken into account. For example, if the copper price is 433 and the zinc price is 213.5, then 60% of 433, that is 260, and 40% of 213.5, which is 85. Then the value of brass can be calculated as 260 plus 85, which is 345. So this is how the price movement can be tapped.